Per me è un sogno.
Wow.
Per me è veramente un sogno. Ricordava oggi Wim Wenders che domani mostriamo Paris, Texas, sono i 40 anni, siamo solo al 38esimo anno del cinema ritrovato, ma se il cinema ritrovato esiste è anche colpa di Wim, che ci ha fatto innamorare del cinema e dei suoi film, e non solo dei suoi film, ma del cinema. Questa è una proiezione davvero straordinaria, perché è la versione restaurata di GEBRÜDER SKLADANOWSKY e sarà musicata dal vivo dal musicista che ha scritto la partitura, che è Laurent Petitgand, e quindi è veramente in qualche modo una prima di un film restaurato e mostrato come non è mai stato mostrato. Ma io ne volevo approfittare per fare qualche domanda a Wim. Qui siamo al Modernissimo, tu Wim hai visto il Modernissimo l'anno scorso e non era ancora finito, ma era quasi finito. Adesso è aperto, e quindi la domanda ovvia che ti devo fare è come tu vedi il futuro del cinema, se nel futuro del cinema ci saranno ancora le sale cinematografiche.
In inglese?
Sì.
Well, if there's one cinema left in the end, it's this one, the Modernissimo. But I sure hope that this would be the opposite. This theater will rather be an example that it's worth doing beautiful movie theaters from scratch. So I think this is an example what needs to be done. It needs to be beautiful. It needs to have a great program, and it needs to be done with love. And then theaters will last forever.
L'abbiamo fatto esattamente per questo, perché fosse un esempio, ecco, e adesso è il più bello, ma fra qualche anno sarà superato da degli altri cinema ancora più belli, ed è per questo che l'abbiamo fatto. E questo film che stiamo per vedere è un film che hai fatto con degli studenti di cinema della scuola di Monaco di Baviera, e tu hai appreso il cinema anche in una scuola, e ti chiedo se il cinema può essere insegnato in una scuola.
You want to know the truth? No. But film schools are not useless, because you meet other students who want to do the same as you, who want to learn about filmmaking. And the great thing about film schools is you meet a few of your peers with whom you start from scratch and with whom you learn everything. I don't think you learn that much from teachers, but you learn by doing. And if you make movies while you're a student, and even if you only work on your fellow students' films, if you make films together, that's the best education. So film schools are not useless as long as students make movies together and develop friendships and become close to each other and continue learning together. So the film school where I went to was hopeless, because it was too early for film schools, and film school was done in 1967. That was the first film school, and they didn't know how to teach young people about movies. So we were 20 for the directing class. And for the 20 of us, there was not a single film camera. That was a film school without a camera. So, can you imagine? Rainer Werner Fassbinder was denied access. He was not among the 20. They said, we don't need you. He was so angry, he made 3 movies while we were waiting for the school to buy a camera. It goes to show you can do without film school. But I did something great with that school 20 years later. No, 30 years later. Herman, how many years later? 28, yeah. Because Herman I was in the A class in 1967 and Herman was in the X class in 1997 or 6. And I was convinced I should work with some students of the same school where I had gone 30 years earlier. So, and I went and said, well, I don't want to teach them anything. I don't think I can teach them anything, but if we make a movie together, we might learn from each other. So we made, and as the year was 1993 or 4, I don't know exactly, 93. And the year 1995 was very close. And 1895 was the birth year of cinema. So I suggested to my 12 students, let's make a film together about the birth of cinema in Germany. And they didn't quite know about the birth of cinema, so I told them about these crazy brothers who lived in Berlin and invented cinema on their own. They had no clue about the Lumiere brothers in Paris. They were poor. They had no formal education. They worked in the circus. And they regularly screened shows with moving images, not film, but diapositives of photographs with moving elements in them.
Lanterne magique.
Yeah, Laterna Magica and things like that, in circuses. And that's how they made their money. And they thought it would be great if it would move for real what they showed. So they invented movies. Before the Lumieres, before any of the others, because it was invented in America, in France, in Germany, in England, everywhere at the same time. So we were in 93 and we said, we're going to make a movie about the invention of movies in Germany, and luckily our German inventors were poor and stupid and funny and endearing. So we started to research about them, and then we started to make a little short film, 20 minutes. And we liked it very much when it existed the next year. And the next year, when I came back to the students, I said, what are we going to do this year? And they all said, let's continue that movie. So we continued the next year, and one more time in 96, until we had a film that was, the first one was 20 minutes long. Then the next year we shot another 20 minutes, and then we shot maybe 30 minutes, and out of a sudden we had 70 minutes of film. But in Germany, you only have a feature film if the film is 77 minutes long. But we didn't have more than 70. So we said, let's produce the longest credit sequence in the world.
È veramente la più lunga del mondo e anche la più divertente.
Yeah. We beat James Cameron. I think Avatar is 5 minutes of we have 7 minutes of credit sequence. You will see it. Please stay, because it's part of the film. And part of the film is also the young man who is not so young anymore, because we made it in 96, 7, 8, no, 4, 5, 6, and he was a young student, and now he's a filmmaker himself. He lives in Argentina, has made 4 feature films already. German, come join us. How are you? When we started the film, there were 12 students, and everybody directed a little bit. Hier kannst du auch hören, das Italienische. Everybody directed one scene, and everybody had a job on the others, and some did sound, some did electricity. All the students worked on something. The next year, we were only 8. And when we finished the film, there were 3 left. And all 3 made movies and continued as film directors. So it's worth it to stick to your guns. So Herman made great movies, so did the other 2.
I want to say something that's very important to me. I was born and raised in Buenos Aires. And when I was 18, I saw in a cinema in Buenos Aires a film called The State of Things. And it blew away my head. And then I saw a couple of years later Las Alas del Deseo. And I was in love with these films. And then I saw Paris, Texas. And then I read that Wim Wenders had studied at the Munich Film School. And then
useless school.
And then I said, I want to go there. I want to study film at the Munich Film School. And I did. And I went to Berlin, and in Berlin they didn't took me. I didn't want to go to the Berlin Film School, but I thought maybe they don't take me in Munich. I should go to Berlin, and they said no in Berlin. And I thought I will jump from the Berliner Tower because I wanted so much to study films. And then I went to Munich Film School. They accepted me, and 2 or 3 years later, I was lucky to have Wim as our teacher. That was incredible, and I don't want to make it too long, but I want to tell you some short story. When we were about to shoot the film, the second part of it in 1994, our protagonist couldn't come to the shooting, and because the film was organized by students, they didn't call him early enough, so we didn't have our main protagonist 2 weeks before shooting. Udo Kier was not there.
That was Mr. Skladanowsky himself.
Udo Kier.
Yeah.
And I mean, every normal person would say, well, we stop everything, we go home, then go and try to find Udo Kier. But Wim, who is a great artist and an incredible filmmaker, and I would say a genius, he said, okay, we have to use this situation for us. We have to make out of this situation the best we can. And he had the idea to tell the story from the point of view of Skladanowsky, who couldn't be with us at the shooting, so we were shooting all the film from his perspective. And then Wim called Udo Kier. He came one Sunday to Berlin, and we shot him in a theater like this, remembering his life. So you can learn at film school if Wim Wenders is your teacher. I mean.
You learn how to cheat. Okay, Gianluca, more questions? You stay here.
No, io penso solo ancora una questione, è il lavoro sulla musica, e se ci parli del lavoro di Petitgand. La musica è sempre così importante in tutti i tuoi film, e questo è quasi un film muto, quindi la musica è fondamentale.
Yes, I hope you know why you're here. You're here to see a silent film. Did you know that? And we did shoot a silent film. We actually shot the film on a camera from the 1920s, on a silent camera. But then, in post-production, we invented some sound, and most of all, we invented the music. I shouldn't say we, because I knew who could do this. He is a great friend of mine, and we've worked together on a dozen movies already, maybe more. Laurent, where are you? Come on here. Laurent Petitgand. Laurent was a young French guy from Lyon.
No.
From no?
Nancy.
Nancy. Oh shit. I was just thinking of something else. From Nancy up in Lorraine. And he had a punk group called Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy was a fabulous rock and roll group.
Thank you.
And I don't know why I thought of you. I made a film in 1983, and we finished it in 1985 or something. We shot it before Paris, Texas, but then I couldn't edit it, and we edited it afterwards. And that was called Tokyo Ga. And I wanted a soundtrack for Tokyo Ga, and I thought of you. He was the singer and multi-instrumentalist of Dick Tracy, and he had never scored a film.
No.
It's good to start at some point. So that was the first film we did, and then he scored part of Wings of Desire, Far Away So Close,
Yeah.
and like 12 or
12, maybe 13. No,
maybe 13 now. Anyway, one of them was the brother Skladanowsky, and he did something really, truly marvelous. He played the music, of course, on some instruments and with a little orchestra, but he also went to Potsdam. In Potsdam, there is an old film organ from the very early times of silent cinema. And it's a gigantic organ with many features and things. And you can play all sorts of sound effects. Streetcar, police horn, applause, 1,000 little things. Coughing, a dog barking, a cat meowing. You could play all these sounds on the organ. And he had the brilliant idea to sample every sound and to use them all in his music. And as he is a wizard, he could tune every sound so it would be in tune with the rest of the music. So he made the music with real instruments, and himself he plays a lot of instruments, as you will notice. And he played these samples. And I love this little soundtrack, and I love this little film. It's one of the funniest things I ever done in my life. Now you look at me and think he never did anything funny. But
that's right.
If you shoot with a hand crank camera, if you shoot with a camera where somebody actually stands...
I was doing this.
Yes, you were doing this long enough. I was doing some of it myself. But if you shoot a movie with somebody standing there, sweating and turning, you can't make anything serious. That's why they came up with slapsticks. They couldn't do anything else. The situation was too crazy and too absurd. Somebody was with a coffee mill, grinding coffee or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, we made something that was funny. At least we thought it was funny. And you thought it was funny.
Yeah, sure, it's your first comedy.
Yeah.
And maybe the last. No, I hope no.
Maybe you will start a new career for me tonight by convincing this audience it is a comedy. Because tonight, for the first time, he's going to play the entire music live, and all you hear is the voiceover of...
And you have to know that Wim is in the film.
I am?
You are. And you know what?
Milk.
2 or 3 days ago, I saw you for the first time. I don't know how many how much time I saw this film. To make music, you have to, a lot of. And a few days ago, I saw you. It's him.
Where?
Milkman.
At the milk.
The Milkman.
Milkman.
Oh yes, I played the Milkman.
Have to.
If you see the film, watch out for the Milkman.
Buona visione.
The Milkman steals the show. And a lot of applause for Laurent, who is very scared to play the soundtrack now, and he has le track. How do you say that in English?
The track, I don't know in English. Well,
Butterflies. How do you call it?
Sound.
That was the right word. What was it?
in italiano come si dice?
Farfallo.
Farfalle.
Farfalle.
Ah.
I want to say thank you to the German Film Heritage Funding Program, and especially the DFFF, the Deutsche Film Institute, and Alan Harrington, who's here, and Thomas Woszesch. They helped restoring the film. They made it possible. And thank you, Gianluca and Cineteca di Bologna, for making this live experience possible, because I won't tell the story how much it seemed impossible until you said we can do it.
Yes.
So he made it possible.